May the 5th, 2016. London got a new mayor, Sadiq Khan. And 9 years later, the question is, did London actually benefit? Now, London was never perfect, but compared to today, it looked incredible. It looked clean, safe and simple. And as you can see on screen, everybody looked British. In fact, to Europe and the world, London was one of the most important cities on the planet. It was the financial hub of Europe, and it was home to some of the world's biggest banks. And on top of that, it was the centre of global culture, where the entire world admired us. Because London wasn't just another capital, it was the world's location for influence and power. Then you fast forward to the 90s, which was when I was born myself in London. And at the time it was just a little bit expensive, it was slightly overcrowded and it was a little bit corrupt. But it was simpler times. There was no debates about ULEZ cameras, no blanket 20-mile-an-hour zones. And yes, there was a lot less diversity. Before the 2016 election, Boris Johnson was mayor. Now, whilst it's not a video about Boris Johnson, I will say that Boris Johnson didn't run for mayor in 2016 again, leading people at the time to believe that he wanted to become Prime Minister. Which, as you'll know, that happened. Which is a move that we could all see from the current mayor. Because in the background, someone else was making their way up. Went by the name of Sadiq Khan, a lawyer, allegedly from Tooting. As you can see, Pakistani heritage. And he entered politics in the early 2000s, rising through the Labour Party. And he built his reputation on what he would call fairness, equality, and he likes to use the words social justice. And when Sadiq Khan ran for mayor in 2016, he came out of a manifesto which explained his entire position. If we take housing for example, he says too many are sold off-plan to overseas investors, only to sit empty. So he didn't want overseas investors to be able to buy property in London. But if we fast forward to the modern day, over £90 billion of London real estate is owned by foreign investors. I've put a chart up on the screen just so you can see roughly where they're coming from. And as you can imagine, a large portion are empty. He said that he wanted to encourage the rollout of 20-mile-an-hour zones across the city by backing the 20's Plenty for Us campaign. Now, this is something that Sadiq Khan has actually stuck to, because as you can see just by visiting the capital, it has almost grinded to a standstill, because it's meant longer journeys as well as stricter enforcement. And like I said, it's a city that feels slower than ever. For many communities, gang activity and the related threat of violence are a shocking daily reality. These are the words of Sadiq Khan in 2016. And crime has continued to rise since he became mayor. Because whole boroughs have been affected, and for many people in London, the threat of violence is just part of daily life. And the reality is that despite being one of the centre points of this campaign, crime remains a serious problem in the city. Then came the 5th of May 2016, which went down in history as a very big day for London. Because after beating 11 other candidates in the race to become London mayor, as well as the first Muslim mayor of a major European city, he was up against Zach Goldsmith of the Conservatives and Sian Berry of the Green Party. But with 44% of the vote, Sadiq Khan was able to secure the victory and start his plan for London. As for Zach Goldsmith and Sean Berry, you'll be pleased to know that they too were able to continue their life of politics. You know, nothing will stop a politician from taking some of that taxpayer cash. Now, depending on who you ask, some will say Khan's victory brought diversity to London, and others will say that it's made it a harder place to live. Some people might even say that he's managed to do both. And you? Well, you might say that Sadiq Khan's done a whole lot more. So since the 5th of May 2016, has Sadiq Khan been a good mayor? Or has he been the one to speed up London's downfall? And if you wanted to see what Sadiq Khan has been up to recently, then have a look at this video on screen, where almost 10 years later, the man is still trying to tell you what to do. He's just never gonna leave, is he?
This country has gone crazy.